Hi everyone, I'm Deirdre Cartmill and I'm the Monaghan County Library's Writer in Residence. Welcome to this, my third video in the Writer's Room series, which gives you an insight into what life's really like as a writer. Today I wanted to talk about how to find your voice, how to get published, and when and where to submit. And the first point is the most important, how to find your own voice. And I know when I was starting out as a writer, everybody talked about finding your voice, and I had absolutely no idea what it meant. Now I know it means just writing honestly and truthfully and authentic about how you see the world, your perspective on things, and how you think things should be or things should change. Because I said in my very early videos that being a writer is being an illuminating dissenting voice that invites others to think differently and freely. So you have to know what your vision for the world is and what your vision about life is if you're going to invite others to think differently and freely. So writing just how you uniquely see the world, writing the world as you see it or how you think it should be, writing from that perspective is what it means to find your voice. And I realised that when I did my Masters in Creative Writing at Queen's. I did my Masters in the early 90s and the Troubles in the North were over and everybody said don't write about the Troubles anymore. But I was born into the Troubles, so my whole childhood was coloured by them and they were there in the background for my life. So for me to try and write and to iron that out of the picture was not true to me. So instead I started to write about it head on, to move through it and deal with it myself. And when I started to do that, I realised I tapped into something deeper within me, something truer within me. We all know that writing from our heart and our soul is what connects to another person. So when you go deep inside you and write your truth, that's what connects with another. Now I don't mean writing about the facts of your life. You don't need to do that at all. But you do need to write about the emotional truth and the truth of your perspective. And your uniqueness is needed in this world. So it's so important for you to tap into that. And it really is as simple and as difficult as that. It's difficult because we need to be courageous to tell our truth to the world. But that's our job as writers, to tell our truth to the world. One of the questions I get asked a lot is, how do I get published? What you need to do in the early days is to start to build up a track record. So send poems and stories out to magazines, send articles out if you're writing non-fiction, read anywhere and everywhere you get the chance to, at open mics or any small events. Because it builds your confidence and it gets your name and your voice out into the world. And there's many great online resources where you will find reputable magazines to send to. For example, the Poetry Ireland website and the Words Ireland website. And it was going out into the world that gave me my first big stepping stone, I suppose, in my path. I did a workshop at a festival, and as part of the workshop we all got to read 2 pieces at an event that night for anybody from the festival who wanted to attend. So I got up and read my 2 poems. Afterwards, a publisher came up to me and said when I was ready to submit a book he would love to see it. And also an Arts Council officer came up to me and encouraged me to keep in touch and to keep writing. So that was a really big moment for me. And if I hadn't had the courage to go out and read, and believe me, I was dead nervous at the time, but I did it anyway. So having that courage to go out gets you noticed and builds your confidence and sets you on your path as a writer. So building up that track record, building up that CV, means you're ready then to submit to a publisher. And when you are ready to submit to a publisher, it's really important to give them exactly what they ask for. And there's 2 levels to that. So the first thing is to become aware of what they publish. Because if they don't publish poetry and they don't publish sci-fi, and you try to send them your poetry or your sci-fi, you're going to get a no automatically. So look at what they're looking for and what they publish. The second thing is to take note of what they actually ask you to send to them. So do they ask for the first 3 chapters and a synopsis, or do they ask for the whole book? It's important to respect them and give them what they want. It's also important to respect the details. So do they want everything double spaced as they often do, or do they want it single spaced or 1.5 spaced? So read the guidelines. They will all have guidelines on their website. Follow the guidelines and give them what they want, because this is you making your first impression. Now I can tell you that unfortunately a writer's life is all about getting rejected over and over again, and I would say at least 90% of what you submitted will get rejected. And you can't get discouraged by that. That's just the way it is. You need to take it on the chin, see if you can improve what you've submitted, and if you don't think it can be, send it out again. If you do think it can be, rewrite it. Of course you'll have rewritten it and rewritten it until it's the best it can be before you send it. Because if you kind of know that little part's not working, but hopefully they'll not notice, I can tell you that's the very first thing they notice when they read your work. So you want to make it the absolute best you can before you submit. And you have to remember it's very subjective. So one person might not like what you've written and another person might love it. At this stage I've been lucky enough to be on the other side, to be a judge in some competitions, and I can tell you if there's 3 judges, 2 judges might love something and the 3rd judge might just not get it at all. So it's all very subjective, but you have to do your job correctly and make it the best it can be before you send it in. I wish I knew who'd said this, but I can't remember at the moment. But it's the best quote I think ever, and it's aim to receive 100 rejections a year. Because if you're receiving 100 rejections, it means you've submitted 100 times, rather than keeping your work on your computer and not letting anybody see it. So if you're getting 90% rejection and you've sent out 100 things, chances are you've got 10 accepted somewhere. But they certainly won't be selected for anything unless you actually submit them in the first place. So you do have to have the courage to do that. Take it on the chin. If it doesn't resonate, send it out to the next person who might absolutely love it. So I hope that's been helpful today. Next week in my last video I'll be talking about how to move forward as a writer and how to keep your writing alive in your daily life. So until then, take care.